Let me tell you talking tips. Elara loved English, devouring books and movies with passion. Her comprehension was superb, a testament to her dedication. Yet, a silent struggle persisted deep within her heart. She understood complex conversations and intricate plotlines effortlessly, but speaking felt like a heavy, impossible burden she carried daily. "I understand English but I can't speak well," she often whispered to herself in frustration. This unspoken fear built a significant wall, separating her from real communication opportunities. Many times, she would rehearse sentences perfectly in her mind, only to have them vanish when she opened her mouth. "Why I always make mistakes," she wondered, a persistent question echoing. The fear of imperfection paralyzed her every attempt. Every potential error loomed large, daunting and overwhelming, preventing any spontaneous expression. She desperately wished for a breakthrough, a clear path forward from this dilemma. One day, Elara stumbled upon an inspiring online community. They shared invaluable, talking tips and personal stories of overcoming similar linguistic hurdles with courage. A glimmer of hope sparked within her, suggesting that perhaps her situation wasn't unique or entirely hopeless after all. "Why you should practice speaking," one speaker emphasized, "because perfection is the enemy of progress." This simple truth resonated profoundly with Elara, instantly changing her perspective completely. She realized true fluency wasn't about flawless grammar, it was about consistent engagement and brave steps. The concept of "the best way to learn English" began to shift dramatically. It wasn't solely about passive consumption of content anymore, but active creation. Brave interaction, even with noticeable mistakes, became undeniably vital for genuine language acquisition and real personal growth. She decided that very moment to embrace her imperfections fully. Mistakes were not failures, they were valuable stepping stones, unique learning opportunities disguised as setbacks. Each error offered profound insight, guiding her towards clearer pronunciation and more accurate grammatical structures. Her first practical step: start talking at home. No audience, no judgment, just her own hesitant voice. This felt incredibly liberating and surprisingly comfortable for her, eliminating the daunting pressure of external scrutiny. It was a safe space for her linguistic experimentation. She began by talking to herself in the mirror every morning without fail. Describing her daily routine, her transient thoughts, anything that came to mind freely. It felt a little silly initially, but consistency slowly brought confidence and a growing sense of self-assurance over time. She practiced basic greetings, simple questions, and everyday observations constantly. The initial sounds were hesitant, almost whispers, barely audible. But consistent repetition slowly brought confidence and clarity to her articulation. Her voice grew stronger with each passing, dedicated practice session. Reading aloud became a new, essential ritual in her daily life. Not just silent reading anymore, but speaking the words deliberately. This helped her hear her own pronunciation clearly and identify tricky sounds that needed more attention and dedicated practice, refining her speech. She integrated English into her daily chores seamlessly. Narrating the simple act of washing dishes or folding laundry became habitual. This seemingly mundane practice surprisingly cemented new vocabulary and phrases, making them an integral part of her active lexicon naturally. Elara remembered her profound love for English story reading. She decided to combine her passion with her speaking practice purposefully. She chose very interesting story books, carefully selected for their engaging narratives and accessible language for her evolving skill level. She started with simple children's books, their simpler language building foundational confidence slowly but surely. Then she moved to engaging young adult fiction, gradually increasing complexity over time. Each book was a small victory, expanding her understanding and vocabulary immensely. As she read, she didn't just understand the text, she repeated compelling sentences aloud. She mimicked the intonation and rhythm of accompanying audiobooks, enhancing her natural flow of speech. This active engagement transformed her reading into dynamic speaking practice daily. How to learn words effectively became another crucial focus in her systematic approach. She used flashcards religiously, but more importantly, she used new words in her daily self-talk immediately after learning them, reinforcing retention actively and strategically. Instead of just memorizing definitions passively, she created mini-stories using new vocabulary organically. This active recall method helped embed the words deeper into her long-term memory, ensuring they became readily accessible for spontaneous conversation when needed. There were still days when "why I always make mistakes" crept back into her thoughts, a nagging doubt. But now, she addressed them differently, with a newfound resilience. She saw them as valuable data points, guiding her path forward with clarity. She bravely recorded herself speaking, then listened back critically but kindly. This raw, honest feedback helped her pinpoint specific pronunciation issues or recurring grammatical patterns that required targeted improvement and dedicated attention for true mastery. For every error she identified, she'd spend a few focused minutes researching the correct usage diligently. Then, she'd repeat the correct sentence multiple times, embedding the proper form into her muscle memory, ensuring future accuracy and fluidity. She sought out online language exchange partners, a terrifying prospect initially. Yet, these real-time interactions became incredibly invaluable, providing authentic conversational practice. Live conversation was the ultimate test of her progress, pushing her beyond her comfort zone consistently. She found talking tips online that suggested focusing on common phrases first. Mastering these foundational building blocks provided immediate communication wins and significantly boosted her morale, giving her the courage to tackle more complex linguistic structures later. Why you should practice speaking became her unwavering mantra. Every small, consistent session accumulated into significant improvement over time. The hours added up, subtly transforming her ability from hesitant understanding to confident, articulate expression daily. Her internal voice began to shift noticeably. The critical self-talk diminished significantly, replaced by a more encouraging, supportive tone. She celebrated small victories, not just monumental breakthroughs, recognizing every tiny step forward as meaningful progress. The discomfort of speaking slowly faded, replaced by a growing sense of ease and naturalness. She no longer had to translate in her head, words began to flow more spontaneously, directly from thought to spoken expression, a true breakthrough. She discovered the pure joy of spontaneous expression, something she never thought possible for herself. Casual conversations became opportunities for connection, not just daunting challenges anymore. Her fear had been replaced by genuine enthusiasm and confidence. Elara found herself confidently explaining complex ideas during online meetups and discussions. The paralyzing fear that once gripped her tongue had finally loosened its powerful hold entirely, allowing her thoughts to flow freely and eloquently during conversations. To reinforce how to learn words, she started using an interactive app that created personalized quizzes. This gamified approach made vocabulary acquisition enjoyable and remarkably efficient, turning a chore into an engaging and highly rewarding daily activity. She explored different talking tips specifically for pronunciation, like tongue twisters and mimicking native speakers. These targeted exercises refined her articulation noticeably, making her speech clearer and more natural sounding with each diligent practice session. She realized the best way to learn English was truly a personalized journey. What worked perfectly for one person might not be ideal for another. Self-awareness regarding her own learning style and preferences was undeniably key to her success. She actively sought out diverse English story reading materials, expanding her horizons. Podcasts, news articles, and even technical manuals broadened her vocabulary and contextual understanding significantly, preparing her for a wide range of real-world communication scenarios effectively. The concept of very interesting story now applied not just to fiction, but to real-life anecdotes she could recount confidently in English. This ability to share personal narratives made her connections deeper and more meaningful with others instantly. Elara started her own small blog, bravely sharing her personal experiences with others. "I understand English but I can't speak well," was a remarkably common comment from her new readers, resonating deeply with their own unspoken frustrations. She wrote honestly about why I always make mistakes and how she learned to embrace them, turning perceived errors into powerful, constructive learning moments. Her profound honesty and vulnerability truly inspired many aspiring language learners globally. Her blog offered practical, talking tips gleaned directly from her arduous journey. She emphasized starting small, being remarkably consistent, and celebrating every tiny step of progress, no matter how insignificant it seemed at first glance. She passionately encouraged everyone to start talking at home, even just for 5 dedicated minutes a day. That quiet, private practice was precisely where true confidence began to blossom, away from the intimidating gaze of external judgment. Elara passionately advocated for why you should practice speaking daily, stressing that active engagement was far more effective than passive consumption of content. Only through active participation could true linguistic transformation occur within oneself. She continued her English story reading relentlessly, now delving into classics and academic texts with gusto. Her comprehension deepened immensely, but her speaking remained her primary, unwavering focus, continually pushing her boundaries daily. Each new word learned through her systematic how to learn words strategy was immediately put into active use. She made sure it became an integral part of her regular speaking repertoire and thought patterns, cementing its place. Elara firmly believed the best way to learn English was undeniably holistic, combining listening, reading, writing, and, most crucially, constant speaking, even with persistent imperfections. It was a comprehensive approach to true mastery. Her incredible journey was a powerful testament that fluency wasn't reserved for those who started young or lived abroad. It was remarkably accessible to anyone with determination, consistent effort, and unwavering discipline, regardless of their background. She became an informal mentor for others struggling with similar linguistic challenges. Her personal story was a powerful, living example of transforming passive understanding into active, vibrant, and confident communication skills for the world to witness. Looking back, the initial fear of, "Why I always make mistakes," seemed almost comical to her now. Those very mistakes had, in fact, been her greatest teachers, wisely guiding her path forward with invaluable lessons learned. The simple, courageous act of deciding to start talking at home had been the pivotal moment. It was a brave leap that profoundly transformed her entire English learning experience, opening up new possibilities she had never imagined before. She profoundly realized that understanding was merely the essential foundation of language. Speaking was the actual construction of the building, requiring continuous, dedicated effort and brave, persistent attempts daily to solidify progress. Her very interesting story was not just about English proficiency. It was deeply about self-belief, unwavering resilience, and the transformative power of consistent daily habits in achieving seemingly challenging, ambitious goals against all odds. Elara now speaks English effortlessly and confidently, engaging in diverse, complex conversations with ease. Her voice, once hesitant and filled with doubt, now carries a clear, articulate, and powerful tone that captivates listeners entirely. She understood that fluency wasn't a static destination reached but a continuous, evolving journey of perpetual learning and applying new knowledge. There was always more to discover, more to express beautifully and eloquently over time. Her initial frustration of, "I understand English but I can't speak well," had elegantly evolved into a profound appreciation for every small step taken along the remarkable path of linguistic mastery and personal growth. The simple yet effective, talking tips she'd found initially had blossomed into a comprehensive, personalized strategy that revolutionized her entire approach to language acquisition completely and permanently, changing her life. Every time she helped someone overcome their fear of speaking, she relived her own arduous journey, finding renewed purpose and profound satisfaction in their progress. Her story resonated with countless aspiring language learners globally. And so, Elara's voice, once silent and constrained, now soared, a living testament to the powerful truth. Consistent effort and unwavering belief can truly unlock anyone's speaking potential, transforming dreams into tangible reality. Her personal narrative became a beacon of hope for many, demonstrating that persistence truly pays off. She often reminded her audience that every spoken word was a victory, no matter how small or imperfect initially. The joy she found in connection, in expressing her true self in English, fueled her ongoing dedication. It wasn't just about speaking, it was about truly living without linguistic barriers holding her back. Elara, the once hesitant learner, now inspires thousands. Her message is clear: start at home, embrace mistakes, read often, and practice speaking relentlessly. Your fluent voice awaits its moment.